Hi, my name is Nidhi Sharma. I'm a women's health physical therapist here at FuncPhysio Physical Therapy. Today I'm addressing a common concern that women have after giving birth or while they're pregnant, and they're leaking. They're leaking pee when they cough or when they sneeze or when they lift. They're often told by their doctors, or they look up online and they're told that they should do Kegels. They do Kegels and they do not improve, or they do not improve enough. So if you're someone who feels that Kegels have failed you, this talk is for you. Okay, so why Kegels may have failed you? If you don't already know, this is the pelvis, this is the bone on the right here, bone on the left, and the pelvic floor is the muscle inside. So it looks like a sling of a muscle inside. In actual functioning, pelvic floor is very similar to how our biceps work or how our triceps work, right? They contract and they relax. So you can train pelvic floor much like you would train any other muscle by contracting and relaxing the muscle. So why does contraction, which will strengthen the muscle, does not solve the problem? And I'm going to give you an example of a different muscle to make this simpler. So let's say you have a bicep. Your bicep got overstretched or got injured doing something, and now the biceps is weak. You cannot lift. When you lift something, you drop. So what will you do? You will go and start to lift weights slowly with that biceps to strengthen the muscle. But will you stop there? Will you just lift the weight? Is that all biceps does? Its primary function is to lift, but bicep also functions when you lift your arm up. It also functions when you lift your arm to the side or when you reach behind your back. It works when you drop something. It works when you carry something, even if you don't bend your elbow. So you can see how biceps, although its primary function is to bend the elbow and lift something up, will also function with other muscles of the shoulder joint in different range of motions and different activity. Pelvic floor is the same way. Pelvic floor works isolated to contract and lift the bladder up to hold the pee and poop, but it also works in coordination with muscles of your hip, your back, your knee, even your ankle, and the breathing muscles in different activities of daily life. So when you lift something and your hip muscles are working, your quads are working, when you do a lunge, when you cough, when you run, all of these activities, your pelvic floor doesn't just need to work isolated. Now it needs to work in coordination with all these other muscles and all these other movements. So doing an isolated contraction, that is a Kegel of pelvic floor, will help you a little bit to hold that pee. But the major difference comes when you start to integrate this pelvic floor strength into actual functioning of life with other muscles. So this is the piece that's missing when you don't see the improvement, even though you have been doing Kegels. The pelvic floor strength has improved, but it has not been coordinated with other muscles. And this strength of pelvic floor has not been integrated into the other functions of life, into the other muscles and other joints and how they function. So when somebody comes to me, we spend 1 or 2, maybe 3 visits isolating that pelvic floor, but then we quickly move to making sure that muscle, that pelvic floor, knows how to function with hip muscles, how to function with back muscles, how to function with knee muscles, how to function in squat, how to function in standing, how to function in running, and all those functions. That's where major improvement happens. So if you're someone who thinks that Kegels have failed you, that you have done Kegels but you're still leaking, it may not be that Kegels have failed you. It may be that you have not coordinated and integrated those Kegels into the larger functions of daily living, into the larger activities and movements. And once you do that with a physical therapist, you will see major improvement in your leaking. So if you are still waiting to get better, even though you've been doing Kegels, it's time to go see a physical therapist, a pelvic floor physical therapist.